Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Cece and I post bookish content here on YouTube. Today we'll be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. My computer pulled up with all the prompts, so let's get started. The first prompt is the best book I've read so far this year. Best book I've read so far this year is I Hope This Doesn't Find You. I think I read this in like January or February, but it was so good. Probably like the second best rom-com that I've read after This Time It's Real, which is by the same author. But this one was just like perfect academic rivals to lovers, and it was just so cute and it made me so like happy while reading it. The next prompt is the best sequel I've read so far. This one's kind of hard because all the sequels I've read so far this year I rated kind of similarly. I think this one was my favorite, Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I think that's how you pronounce it. But I did like the first book better, but out of all the sequels I read, this one was my favorite. The next one is a new release I haven't read but want to. This one, I think my main one is The Gilded Blade by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and that came out like a week ago. And I haven't got it yet, but I really want to read it because I love the Inheritance games so much. I have the series right here. It's one of my favorite series, but I'm gonna be so sad when it's finally over. Another new release I want to read is Wild Darling. This one came out a couple months ago, I believe, and I read the other two books in the series and liked them, and now I'm excited to read the next one. If you're wondering why the lighting's a little bit different, it's because it's a couple hours later because I like completely forgot about this prompt somehow. And that is, what are my most anticipated books for the second half of this year? And those are The Mirror of Infinite Endings by Stephanie Garber. I am so excited for this one. I love the Once Upon a Broken Heart series so much. Highly recommend. I do think you should read Caraval first though, because Once Upon a Broken Heart kind of like completely spoils the ending of Caraval. So do read that one first, but after that, definitely read Once Upon a Broken Heart. Another book that I'm really excited about is Trustful by Lynn Painter. I have read 5 of her books, I think, and I liked all of them, so I'm excited to see what this one is about. Another book I'm really excited to read is To Dream in Darkness. I am so excited for this one. I really love this author, and it's like, this is like a sad fantasy or something. I don't really know much about it. I already pre-ordered it though, so I hope I like it. But I am so excited for this one. And the last book that I'm like really excited for this year is Adversary to the Villain. I love this Ascent to the Villain series so much, and Adversary comes out in like 2 weeks, I think, and I already pre-ordered it, so I'm so excited. The next prompt is the biggest disappointment so far this year. I have a couple. First one is The Prison Healer. Thankfully, I didn't buy this. I got it from the library. I would have been even more disappointed if I bought the whole series. But I thought I was gonna rate this like 6 stars because so many of my friends on Goodreads love it, and I just wasn't into it. It was like very predictable, and I kind of saw every plot twist coming, and especially the very last plot twist at the end. It was so predictable. Another book that I read that I was disappointed by was Red Queen. I'm really sad about this one. I thought this was going to be so good, but I don't even think I'm going to continue the series just because I don't really like it. I don't really like dystopian fantasies in general. I kind of just want like one or the other, like dystopian or fantasy, not both. And this one I thought was really like heavy on the dystopian side. It also didn't have as much romance as I thought it would. The next prompt is the biggest surprise so far this year. The most surprising book I've read is Heir of Fire because I liked the first few books. I thought they were good, but like not amazing. And usually when I don't really like the first book, the series kind of goes like downhill from there. But the series has just gotten like better from like this book, and then Queen of Shadows was like even better than this one, I feel like. And I was just like really surprised by that. And this series has taken me so long to read. I started it in like March of 2025, I think, and I'm still reading it in July of 2026, and I haven't read the last book yet, but that's the only one I've got left. But this book is just where I feel like things really started to like pick up and actually like get good. The next prompt is favorite new author, debut or new to you. My favorite new to me author is Sarah Adams. These are the 2 books I've read by her this year, and I also have 2 more on my TBR cart. But I really like the When in Rome series, and I think her writing style is really cute, and like they're just like fun to read. And I do think that she's like definitely one of my favorite rom-com authors now. Next prompt is newest fictional crush so far this year. My most recent fictional crush is Cyrus from Never Thought I'd End Up Here. And I think I read this a month ago. I actually don't have fictional crushes like that often, especially not in rom-coms, which sounds really weird. This isn't my favorite book boyfriend so far this year. That would be Julius from I Hope This Doesn't Find You. Literally all of this author's books are amazing, and she writes like the best book boyfriend. Trust me on this, they're so good. The next prompt is newest favorite character so far this year. For that, I would probably say Manon from the Throne of Glass series. I think she first appears in either Heir of Fire or Queen of Shadows, I can't remember, but she had a lot of time in this book. And I really like how strong of a character she is, but also that she has like a soft spot for her wyvern Abraxos. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not really sure. But I honestly love all the characters in the series, and there's just like so much like development in the characters, especially from Manon. Okay, next prompt is books that made you cry. I have 3 for this one. They are Remarkably Bright Creatures, Picking Daisies on Sundays, and Empire of Storms. I don't remember why I cried in this one. Like, I actually don't remember, even though I only read this like a month and a half ago. But I honestly don't remember why I cried, but I cried a lot. So I don't remember what was said about this at all, but it was something. Next one's Picking Daisies on Sundays. I actually cried at this one like at the very beginning, like in the first 50 pages, I think. The main character is just talking about grief, and I've heard books like talk about grief before, but like the way that this author wrote it, it was really sad. And I was like tearing up a little bit, but I was like at school, so I kind of like forced it down. But I think if I was at home, I would have cried a lot more at that like specific scene. The next one is Remarkably Bright Creatures, and if you've read this, you know exactly what I cried at probably. I like knew what was gonna happen at like the end because it was kind of like building up to it, but I still cried because like the way the author wrote it, it was just so sad and like also really, really sweet. And then when I watched the movie, I also cried at that, and it was just so sad. And I've also like cried like thinking about this book, but this is just such a beautiful book, and I like definitely recommend it. And I never really read like contemporary fiction. I don't really read anything besides like fantasy and romance, honestly, but this was so sweet and sad. The next prompt is book that made you happy, and I do have one for this. I think that this may be like an unpopular opinion a little bit, but definitely the Twilight series. And this series is like kind of angsty, so I wouldn't really like call it a happy book, but I was like really happy while reading it for some reason, just because like the setting was so amazing and like the vibes were so good. And if you ever like wanted a book that feels like a rainy day, Twilight is exactly that. And it was so entertaining, and I just felt happy reading it. I don't really know why, but I read the first 3 books in the series and I definitely plan to finish it. But like Twilight honestly gets a lot of hate and I don't really get it because it was so entertaining. Like, please read it. The next prompt is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. My most beautiful book that I've bought is definitely Violet Thistleway Is Not a Villain Anymore. Like, look at this like beautiful cover. Like, it's so pretty. It has sprayed edges and like art on the inside. And actually this cover is reversible, so that's really cool. But I got this from Owl Crate, I think, just as like for fun. I don't even know why I got it, but it's just so pretty. This is definitely the prettiest book I've gotten. The last one is, what books do you really need to read by the end of this year? I have so many books that I really want to read before the end of the year, but I don't think I'll get to all of them, so I'll just start with like the main ones that I want to read. One of them is Kingdom of Ash because I really want to finish the Throne of Glass series. Like I said earlier in this video, I started it in March of 2025, which was over a year ago, which is like kind of embarrassing for like compared to the time it usually takes me to complete a series. But like, this book is humongous and it has like almost 1,000 pages. It's in the 900s. And I don't really want the series to end, but I also really want to read it to have like the series finished. But oh, I don't want it to end. Another book that I really want to read by the end of the year is Binding 13. Well, actually the whole series that's been released so far. I'm reading this one right now. I'm on page 80 and I really like it. So I think I will continue to read the series. But this series is definitely on my like priority TBR. The next series I want to read before the end of the year is ACOTAR, and I just want to read this like to see if I get the hype because it's like one of the most famous fantasy books right now. And I've read Throne of Glass, so I already know that I like the author, and I do know that ACOTAR is like quite a bit more spicy than Throne of Glass, but I plan to like skip some of that at least. But I do want to read it because I do like Sarah J Maas as an author. The last series that I really want to read this year is Belladonna by Adeline Grace, and I just got this book from the library. I usually get like the first book in a series from the library if I'm like not sure whether I like it or not. I will buy it if I do like this one. I'll buy the whole series because usually if I like the first book, I like the rest. But I've really been wanting to read this one. It looks so good. I love romantasy so much and I'm really excited to read this one. That was the last prompt, so thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've like read any of those books that I mentioned or if you've read any of the books that I want to read. And let me know like your answers to the prompts. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really does help my channel out so much and I'm uploading bookish content daily. Bye!